Alright, so before I actually continue with the video today, I kind of want to address a little bit of something. Some people have been saying that, I did get some comments saying that I'm banging the table a lot. I apologize, okay, that, I'm a little bit fidgety when I'm making a video and such, and because this is mainly commentary, so I do tend to move my hands a little bit. But yeah, I'll try my best to do so. But okay, anyway, let's talk about the Apple ban in China. Okay, for people who are unaware, China actually, well, basically they plan to expand a ban on iPhones in sensitive departments in the government-based agency and state companies. So this news actually came out about 2 days ago, and when that actually came out, basically Apple tanked. Needless to say, I think it's pretty obvious that there's a lot of algorithmic traders and people who basically trade on, the different titles that they see on Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, and whatnot. And basically, that's where they make the trade. Okay, it kind of makes sense because, of course, a ban on the Apple's flagship product is not gonna be pretty good, especially for a company as big as China. So I want to kind of break it down a little bit for you guys and actually just talk a little bit more about what this would actually imply for the future of Apple. So for people who are unaware, basically, what is actually happening is just a ban on iPhone usage for certain foreign state territories, government state, and all these different government-backed agencies and such. So first of all, you're talking about a relatively small percentage to begin with, but I do want to point out something that's pretty important, which is in China itself, the percentage of people who are using the iPhone is not even anywhere near 50%, or I would argue that's even less than 40%, simply because the other side, well, for China, of course, they actually have Huawei phone, they have access to Samsung phones, they have access to Oppo's phone, they have a lot of different technology for them to do so. They don't really need the iPhone. And if anything, I think on social media it seems that like the iPhone is kind of like the state of luxury, it kind of like a proof of luxury that you own an iPhone, you own the latest iPhone, that sort of thing. So I think other than those people who actually just buy the iPhones every single time they actually get a new update, other than that, I think China isn't really that big on iPhone to begin with. So for the market to actually kind of just sell down a little bit because of what happened with the iPhones, with the iPhone ban in China, I can see why. But of course, if you actually watch my previous video, I actually talked about it as well. I am short the market, but do I really see this as any form of a headwind sort of news? No, I don't care. Honestly, I don't care. I don't care if China wants to ban it. Like I said, iPhone is not. If iPhone were to take up like 80% of China's, the China's population's go-to phone, if it's taking up 80-90%, then yes, maybe I would think, oh no, this ban is going to be horrible. People are not going to be able to use iPhone. Apple is going to suddenly just lose one whole entire country's worth of, phone sales and such. Then of course there's going to be an issue. But you're talking about a small percentage of a small percentage, okay? Because out of like, let's be generous and call it 30%, out of the 30% of the people in China who are using iPhones, maybe like 5% of those 30% of those people are actually in those government-backed agencies or those state companies or those different sovereign state and whatnot. Only those people are gonna be getting the ban. So I don't think that's gonna be equating to a huge amount of sales downwards for Apple personally. But of course, we have to talk about Apple's newest release, which is the iPhone 15. It's going to be coming out pretty soon. And I think that Apple, of course, they are expecting higher sales for this upcoming one. But I think that, I think right now, Apple as it is, there isn't really a competitor that is near enough to Apple for what they're actually doing. And the thing is that who is so-called the rivaling technology that they actually do have, yes, you can say Android is good, but personally, I am an iPhone user. I have like every single I got two iPhones. I got a MacBook. I got an iPad. I love Apple. Okay, I love Apple. Okay, so the thing is that Personally, I do think that Apple is just so much more ahead that I don't really have to worry about Apple in that sense. Okay, but I do need to point out the reason why a lot of people are worried. Okay, because people are kind of worried that because if this plan goes forward to ban all these different iPhones in different like in particular conditions they are gonna get banned, what this would actually means is that they might eventually just root out foreign technology in general over the longer run. And I think that that's pretty possible, seeing how the Biden administration wanted to ban NVIDIA chips being sold to China, or they wanted to add a little bit of restriction so that the China technology fight against the US is not going to be as competitive. So ultimately, they're still going through this sort of competitive war. This could be an IT war, a tech war, if you may. And because of them doing this kind of thing, it kind of makes sense for China to just, jab back a little bit after Biden gave their right hook. They're just basically jabbing a little bit back and just being like, okay, maybe just a few people are not able to use the iPhone. And then eventually, China would have to come in with their right hook and say that, okay, we're going to ban iPhone as a whole. I'm not saying that that's not a possibility, but the thing is, like I said before, when that actually becomes a possibility, or if that becomes a possibility, or it actually comes to fruition, then we have to start to, no, I won't say panic, but we will start to actually have to talk about this a little bit more. Right now, Apple is sitting comfortably at about $179. Not really doing well in the short term because we actually saw Apple go all the way to $190. But again, if you zoom out of the picture, Apple's doing pretty well. Apple is very near to its all-time high. And just having such a ban on iPhone on some areas, I don't think it's supposed to be creating that big of a hoo-ha. But ultimately, it is still supposedly news that, it's going to be affecting iPhone in the long run. So, of course, people are going to be trading on those sort of news. But yeah, I think it's quite interesting that what China is trying to do. I'm not sure if they're going to be striking back way harder than what Biden did to them. But yeah, I think, again, I think this news is not really that big of a deal. If eventually they come out to say that China have like way better chips and then they start to ban iPhone and then they sell a new phone and then they say that they are going to stop exporting those phones over to the US, I think that's where the trouble comes in. But as of now, I don't think that's going to be that big of an issue. Yeah, but that's all for this video. And thank you guys so much for subscribing as well. Subscribe and like down below, I see you guys, okay? I see you guys. Thank you so much for supporting my videos. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.